Welcome to Binge or Bail, a podcast where we watch the first episode of a TV show and then decide if we want to stick with it or get out of Dodge. My name is Seth, and I'm joined today by my wife, Kayla. Say hi.
Hey.
By my sister-in-law and the creator of the show, Lorna.
Hello.
And my brother, William.
Hi.
He's my husband.
Yes, they're married, and then
That's how it works.
and then I'm married to my wife. All right. So,
wait, what?
I know, it's magic. We, like I mentioned, this was Lorna's idea, and so in that being the truth, Lorna had 5 different anime, which she specifically wanted us to try out and see if we would maybe binge or bail on them. But outside of that, once we get done with those, we're going to move on to other shows too. But today's episode, our first episode, is going to be about a show we actually had all already seen before, the first episode of it, but I think we can have a good talk about it still. Attack on Titan. And so, Lorna, why don't you tell us, why did you want us to watch Attack on Titan? What? No, that's not meant to be like a diss or
Okay,
anything.
sure. Okay, first off, so there's things called gateway anime, where, some people will come to you and be like, I want to watch anime, where should I start? Because there's so much anime out there. There's 70 new anime every single season. And, yeah, and that's, spring, summer, there's 70 new anime that come out. So there's a lot out there. But Attack on Titan is, first off, the art is incredible in it. It's really well done. And even when we watched the first episode today, I was like, wow, the art in the first episode is so good, but towards the end of it, it's really, really good. The plot in it is, has you on the edge of your seat. It's a total show where if you don't like cliffhangers at the end of every episode, it's not for you. But if you do enjoy that thrill, it's so well done with how it's written and how they cut up each episode. And then the character development, of course, is really amazing too. There's 3 main characters in it, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. And they all have different personalities, different goals, different problems. And the way they go about solving them is really intense, even amongst the worlds that they're in, which is very stressful, intense, high speed. And of course, there's really great side characters too that play into it. There's no romance. So if you don't like romance, you might like Attack on Titan. There's a lot of thriller and action, and they have the 3D maneuvering gear, which in animation sometimes can be really well done or really poorly done. And in Attack on Titan, they do an amazing job of animating it, and it's just, really, really well done. So the manga was really popular at first, and then it got an anime adaptation. That's usually how things go in Japan. So
it's
really good.
The show started airing a long time ago at this point. You guys know the year it started airing?
2014.
13.
Oh. Yeah.
2013. So it's old, it's older than, it was in April. Older than all of my kids.
It's a month older than our marriage.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
And so I think it's interesting, Lorna, when you were mentioning kind of why you picked the show. I kept waiting. I wonder if she's going to mention it. To me, one of the most things that makes me most interested in this world is the fact that the big obstacle that everybody is facing is giant naked people that are trying to eat them. And that's, I think, a pretty big selling point.
They are also absolutely terrifying.
Any thoughts on how scary they are, Kayla? What did you say to me when we finished the episode last night?
I was gonna have nightmares.
She said, I'm gonna have nightmares.
There's actually one Titan in the intro that looks like Bobby Hill.
He said that today. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never noticed that before.
I'll have to watch it.
It was so awkward how they have skin underwear on or something.
Well, you don't want to be
strange.
it's not even gratuitous.
Right?
It's I don't know.
Well, and I normally
I
don't do scary
those.
movies.
You don't need
Titans.
Yeah, I don't do scary movies. I don't do a lot of action type anime, but Attack on Titan has I was just addicted after the first episode to the plot. I was like, I have to know how they overcome this and how they figure it out. It's just, and I like how unique the story is too. So I don't know. Another
It
random
is unique. It's definitely different than
yeah. Another like weird thing about it too is like Japan has a weird fascination with Germany. A lot of people attribute that to like World War II.
Sure.
And so it has a lot of like Germanic influence on
German
it.
names and stuff. It seems
Mhm.
like
German
the main
names.
kid's name is what is
Aaron Yeager.
Jaeger, yeah.
Yep. And then Armin and Mikasa and stuff. And so even the music too, like the intro is in German and
You guys, if there's ever been a TV show, an anime that I've seen that's going to sell you to watch it based just on the intro, is this one. I've been humming the theme song to this show like all day.
it's super good. It's so intense. Yeah.
And like the
It
lyrics
gets
are
me
like
hyped up.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like talking about like how it's only the will to survive that will
Mhm.
like keep us alive
Yep.
and like all this stuff.
Yep.
As they're like
It's pretty accurate to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because it like like that. It's so fast paced. There's a lot of people have like done oh, this is what's really saying. Like, you know, the lip sync things. They'll
Mhm.
like put different
Oh,
words
sure.
into it and stuff. And there's a lot of memes
Yeah.
with that. But
All right, so just to get like a clear picture, like what's going on in this show, our main characters live inside, and we're gonna whenever we do any of these, we're just saying, hey, there might be spoilers for the first episode of whatever show we're gonna watch. From now on, if you're listening to this as they're coming out, we'll let you know what show we're talking about next, and you can watch it too. And so you won't care if we're spoiling anything for you. But on this one, you could always pause this and go watch it. It's available pretty much everywhere. So you could watch it. Anyways, that being said, like we mentioned before, there's these giant people that just are kind of like mindless, that they just wander around and want to eat everybody.
they literally only eat human flesh.
Yeah. And so to protect themselves, at some point in time, over 100 years ago, like these giant walls got built. And so there's these 3 rings, right, of the city.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
3
so like the
walls.
poor people live on the
3 walls.
outside, and then the further you get inside, the more rich.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they don't really cover any of that a ton in the first episode.
No.
The only real insight we get to that at all is the fact that the main kid, Aaron's dad, is a doctor, and he's going to go into like the other parts of the city.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this kid, he wants to become, what are they called? The people that
The survey corps.
the like scout. There
Yeah,
was
they're
like
like
a
scouts,
scouts or
yeah.
something. There's like a one word.
Yeah, well, they watched the English
We watched
dub.
the dub.
Oh,
That's
okay.
true.
They're
We
called the
watched.
Scouts in the English dub, and then they're called the Survey Corps
in the
Yeah, we're not hardcore when it comes to
Right.
it.
I would have.
Kayla would have rather read it, but I
well,
was
and,
tired.
okay. For people who don't watch anime, the dub, when people say that is the English voice actor version. The sub is the Japanese voice actor, but then there's English subtitles.
Yeah.
So we watched the sub. They watched the dub.
Kayla would have rather watched it with
I
the,
like.
Because we're snooty
I like
anime
sub.
purists. I'm just kidding.
And
We're really
I
not.
like Dragon Ball Z. So but anyway, so Aaron, he wants to become one of these scouts or whatever they are, the people that go out and fight the big monsters or whatever. But his parents are like, you can't do that because it's stupid to go do that, because you just go out there and get munched on
Mhm.
and die. Again, like there's this scene where these people come back from outside the wall and they're like, was it worth, like, did my kid die
Why are
for
you
a
laughing?
reason?
I don't know. I was just thinking about that scene, and it's way too abrupt.
Oh, sure. Like
It-
the
The
guy's
whole
reaction.
show is
So-
abrupt,
No,
honey.
but it ends so fast. I was just thinking,
Oh, the
like
end.
when we were watching,
yeah, it is.
that guy's
I
like
did notice that.
breaks down crying, and then it like cuts to, like 2 guys, like the situation. They're like walking away, and there's like 2 guys. They're like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's like this intense. This guy's crying so hard,
Yeah.
the screen is shaking, and then it just cuts to these 2 bros like talking, and
It
it's
is like the pacing of the show as a whole is an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, keep up.
Like it'll go from like intense, oh shoot, we're gonna get eaten, to what a nice meadow and
Mhm.
it's peaceful scenery and a butterfly is flying by.
And so, like, with that scene, it kind of cuts back to something that was happening earlier. We watched this group of guys, like, going up on this Titan. Or they're all Titans? The big
Yeah.
guys are all Titans?
they're all
That's what...
it's
okay.
like different kinds.
And so, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't really see the fight, but, like, obviously some of the guys die when they're fighting this thing. And this mom comes up and she's like, my kid was with you, is he still alive? And they're like, give her the thing, and it's like the guy's severed arm.
Yeah, it's like just his arm.
It's
And he's like, this is all we could
this is all that
retrieve.
was left. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why do you need to give her his
I know.
arm? Like, that's
Burial rights, yo.
I guess. And then she's just like, well, was it worth anything? And he's like, no, it wasn't worth anything. It's all for nothing. Ah! And I'm like, whoa, that's too bad.
Yeah.
And then the kid's like, I can't wait to become a scout.
I know. That's
Everyone
what's so...
asks him, they're always like, do you still want to be a scout? And he doesn't answer. He just stands there like looking at them. Like,
That's what's so frustrating to me about Aaron's character is like he just I don't know.
He just
First off, he
yells.
has no common sense. He does yell a lot. Like
He's
that's
passionate.
why that's why I can't do Black Clover is because literally the main character has no inside voice. I told William that today. I was like, Aaron Yeager has no inside voice. He only has an outside voice.
So funny. So I was confused. So there's this girl that he's going around with. They're picking up firewood.
Mhm.
Aaron and Mikasa.
Mm-hmm.
And are they related?
They're she's adopted.
Okay, because like I thought
She's
that
like an orphan.
I just thought that she was his sister until I was looking up character names online today
Right.
for prepare for the podcast. I was like, she has a different last name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's like an adopted sister.
and they show more about that later.
Mhm.
I figured there's
her
that.
her like backstory and stuff. Yeah.
But they're just like essentially they're just grown up together and are always there for each other. Is all pretty much.
And people
Yeah.
always try to make them romantically related. It's weird. They're literally siblings. Like they're
Mhm.
literally like brother and sister.
I wasn't picking up any vibes like that. And
Yeah.
I like how everybody's afraid of her, but they're not afraid of
Yeah.
him.
There's
at
the
all.
one scene where like Armin's getting bullied and they run away and Aaron's like, they ran away because they saw me. And Armin's like, you idiot. They ran away because they saw Mikasa.
In the English dub, it's like he says like they ran away just from the sight of me, and then Armin's like, well, one of you. It's more cryptic. I don't know if it's super overt.
And
And
it's probably just like translation stuff.
yeah,
but,
Yeah.
like,
That's always interesting.
Yeah.
The tone of voice that people will change and stuff.
and so there's the scene, or there's a scene where they spill the beans to the mom and dad that Aaron wants to become this, and they're like, "You're never gonna do it. That's bad." And the dad's like, more reserved, kind of. You don't know what his play is, but he doesn't seem to want him to do it either.
Yeah.
But the dad leaves, and then finally, I mean, it's the first episode, so it's okay for a slow burn. But what you know, it has to happen. It's going to happen, and they've even shown like split seconds of it earlier,
Mhm.
where this giant, even gianter Titan,
the colossal.
yeah,
Mhm.
who like looks like he has no skin.
Wait, but that was like after Armin was just like
Yeah.
sitting there, like
Oh, I know.
eyes are just like
Foreshadowing,
staring, and he's just like,
too.
it's gonna happen
Yeah,
soon, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden it was bang.
He
We've
said
been
something
safe
like-
for 100 years. It won't last forever. And then like
Yeah,
Yeah,
Armin's
he seems
literally
so
like,
creepy.
yeah, he's like, someday a Titan will break through this wall. And he's like,
Ugh.
And
And
then
like,
he-
why have we seen it over the wall?
Oh my
That
God.
was
It's over-
terrifying.
It
It
is
can't be that
terrifying.
big. The wall's over 150 meters.
I love too how it like shows him from behind the Titan. He'd like hold onto it and it shows him like
slow
like
motion
powering
kick.
up his leg and he's like
And then they're like, he kicked through the wall,
Through the
like he
wall.
was kicking a rock. I'm like, what?
yeah. That is one thing I don't know if this is a spoiler. They do a really cool job of like there's different types of Titans.
Sure.
And that part is really fascinating to me. And
Yeah.
then towards the end of the show they get into like the origin, which is also really cool.
Yeah, I'm not 100%
I was
clear.
like, does the big guy come in? Because he didn't seem to like be coming
He just
in.
kinda
He
kicked a
just
hole
like
in.
let the little ones.
I
in.
do know some things
I
that.
don't wanna
Quote,
spoil
unquote,
it.
little
Dude,
ones.
it's so good how they tie it all together. Like even the first episode, there's so much foreshadowing going on. So, like when you go back and rewatch it, you're
it's
like,
when you're
"Oh
talking
my
about it, I
gosh."
want to watch more, but when I think about it, I don't.
Yeah.
Because there is, like, the violence is pretty, like.
it's not a kid show.
Oh,
I
no,
lived,
not
I
at all.
lived
Kid
away.
show.
It's not a Kayla show.
Yeah.
It's intense, is what it's like. The violence is violent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the show's going for.
it's going for shock.
A
value.
shock
yeah,
value
it
for
doesn't.
sure.
It doesn't want you to be like,
But
everyone will be fine.
It wants you to feel the despair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And you do.
the
And
mom's like blood just like
Explodes.
so
Yeah.
far.
Ugh. Yeah.
Why is-
Like, I'm not spoilers, but like to say, like, so Aaron
Oh,
had,
sorry.
No, Aaron had a fight with his mom of course, if you're ever going to fight with a parent and then storm off, that's when something awful is going to happen to one of them. If I've ever
Also
watched a movie.
extends to adopted parents.
Yep.
Rip Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Yep. Uncle Owen, you're not my dad. And then he knew it. He was dead right after that. Sandman was going to kill him. And so
Right.
with the Spider-Man 3 retcon, though, not with the regular one. So anyway, he fought with his dad or with his mom, and then they're like, "Oh no, there's a bunch of," because the big guy kicks the hole in the wall, and then the not so big but still really big guys are coming in, and they're like, "They're gonna devour all of us." That's what Armin is like.
It's over.
Yep. And so, but they get to the house, and the mom's like crushed under the house, and she's like, "You gotta run! You can't help me. My legs are crushed. Even if you get me out, I can't walk." But then, what's his name? Hanus or Hanas or what?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember how to...
He's this guy that we met earlier in the episode, who is one of these guards.
Yeah.
But the guards don't take their job seriously inside the wall because they're like, the wall's going to protect us. We don't really need to be on our game.
Sleeping
They're like
drunks all the
yeah,
time.
like getting drunk and playing cards instead of like actually worrying about like protecting people. And that makes the main kid mad. But this guy, you think he's going to get his like redemption moment because he's like, oh, he's showing up, he's going to save him. But then like he doesn't have the guts to fight the Titan.
Yeah.
And so he just grabs the kids. And so he does save the kids.
That is probably the best choice he could have made, though.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the 3D maneuvering gear that they used to.
He did.
No,
Oh,
he
he
did.
did?
Because he
Oh,
zips in.
shoot, I
He
didn't even
zips
realize
in.
that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh my
he was
gosh.
ready to go, and then it's
He,
it's
like,
the
ran up to
creepiest
the
one.
Titan,
Yeah.
and then
It's the
it's when he
creepiest.
looked at
They
it.
like
Oh,
have they have like
that's
Joker
okay.
smiles
And,
in their
like-
rest. Like,
It's the
Okay.
most horrible.
Yeah, your
I don't
head's
want to
always
spoil
cocked.
it. I don't want to spoil it.
don't
That
spoil it.
specific Titan though has a story.
Don't spoil
It
it.
has a
obviously
story.
has. He
Okay, I won't spoil
obviously
it.
is
Chill,
the
chill.
creepy one
Oh, for sure.
because they were even.
Okay, I used to watch the show. I would watch it as it like the seasons or the episodes come out, and I would go to volleyball on Sunday nights. I would run from my house to the car because I was like, the Titans are gonna get me! Oh my gosh!
Oh no,
like,
one
it
of those
freaks
giant
me
things just gonna
out.
sneak up
Well, yeah,
on me.
especially like living with your guys' parents. Like you're out there in the middle of not the middle of nowhere, but
I
you're out in
mean,
the country. And I was like,
sure.
what if there's one out here?
It's so funny.
He
It
would
would
catch
freak
you
me
even
out.
if you ran.
Thanks,
That's
Sunny.
true. He
I
would.
just that
And if they only
smile
wanna
eat
human
creeped
flesh.
me out, and I was like, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
having visions of that.
So
him
the
just
end
Did you have a
living.
nightmare, Kayla? Wait, did you
No,
have a
I
nightmare last
passed
night?
out.
Okay, good. You stayed up late
Mama
enough.
3.
I was like, no.
Well, so the end of the episode
Mhm.
ends with their mom getting eaten
Yeah, get chomped.
by a Titan. And I will say the show does a really good job of, yes, there's gore for shock effect, but it's not like excessive.
Yeah,
I think
it's
they
not
do
like
they
cuts
do a
away.
really good job of that.
It's
yeah.
like it's one of those situations where you think you're seeing more than you actually are seeing.
Yeah.
Just like with like classic like Psycho, like the movie Psycho with
Mhm.
Alfred Hitchcock. It's like you think you're watching this lady get
Mhm.
stabbed a bunch, but like the knife never goes in her. Like,
Right.
you never see her actually get stabbed. And just
Mhm.
so you see more than that, of course, in this show. Like there was
like
a
they
part.
show the severed hand and
Yeah.
stuff.
So there's a part in the movie where like the Titan is holding the mom and kills her before it eats her. It seems like at least
like breaks her back.
breaks her back or
Yeah.
something. And Kayla covered her eyes because she was afraid,
Yeah.
but it didn't actually show anything there. Like it cuts away and you just see.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, maybe it's more emotionally damaging to see like the kid's
Like,
face
watching
watching,
their
his
mom.
mom
Oh
get
my
eaten
gosh.
alive. Probably more so, but yeah, that's how the episode ends. Is just like they get chomped, and then you get like a kind of like this is what's going to happen next, and obviously there's like a time jump that
Yeah.
kind of happens because they look different.
Right.
Everybody doesn't look like a kid anymore. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's one thing I like about a lot of animes is they'll do like a sneak preview at the end of each episode. I'm like, yes, I like that. I want to see like a little glimpse and stuff. But
And then Kayla and I made sure to listen to the end credit theme on the too, which also
so
slaps.
So
I'm just
good.
gonna
It's
say.
so good.
It's pretty good, too.
They're all the openers and endings. Of all
Oh
three
yes,
seasons
gets
are
different
super
ones for
good.
different seasons
Yep.
and stuff.
Yeah, and they do different openings. The second season one though is like kind of weird. It's like
That's the one I made fun of all
slow
the time.
jam. Yeah, for sure.
to-
That's the one.
That's funny.
Yeah, you guys will have to listen to it.
But that's pretty much the first episode of Attack on Titan. We mentioned the characters, Eren, Mikasa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say his mom is a character, but that she's dead. And then,
Not for long.
Dad.
and Dad is in the but we don't know where he is.
He's
We haven't
a
seen him.
driving force.
And then,
Mhm.
well, everybody seems to know his dad too. He like
Yeah, because he's like
single-handedly,
a scientist doctor
he like
type.
single-handedly
Yeah, or
cured
like
some
what's
plague
going
or
on
something.
in the
Yeah.
what do you have the key to the basement or
Mhm.
something?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. That's
then-
a big deal.
And then there's Armin, and I'm sure. I mean, I know that there's a ton of other characters that like
Oh my gosh,
that I'm
yes.
sure are like in almost every episode that
They're
like
so
we
good.
just
They'll
come
haven't
in the
seen.
next one.
Levi, Sasha. Oh my, they are some of my all-time favorites. Yeah, Levi is one of my all-time favorite anime characters. I love Levi. He has the weirdest quirks, a really awesome backstory. There's 2 OVA episodes.
What's
that
that mean?
It's like a side episode, so it's not in like the original season.
Is it OVA?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
What's
forget
that
what it
stand
stands for. But it's like outside the season, and a lot of times they'll do
Original
them
video.
something. I can't. Kayla's gonna look it up. I think.
got the
But it's
Googles.
like it'll go further into a side story or a character's backstory, but it's not part of the original season necessarily. So they do that for Levi. They go into his backstory in the OVAs, and they're super good. So.
Wait, is Levi Kinney's brother?
original.
Spoiler, you guys. Jeez, getting on my case.
It says you can say OAV or OVA, original animation video, or original video animation.
So just like the original series.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So those things come out separately. Like,
Mhm. Usually
Refer to
after the
animation
season.
that is released directly to the video market
Yeah.
without first going
Oh,
through
so
a
like
theatrical release.
Dragon
or
Ball,
television.
Trimite,
broadcast.
Brawly stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like that kind. Okay, cool. Supplemental materials.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. All right. Well, so let's just kind of go. So this podcast is us answering a question. Are you going to bail on this show after watching the first
Unclench your
episode?
jaw.
Or-
Relax your shoulders, Caitlin.
or are you going to binge it? Do you want to stick around and see what happens in the show? Now, to take into account, I think it's an important thing when you're deciding if you're going to want to binge something is how much of it is there. Now, right now, there's 3 seasons of this show, and a 4th one's on the way.
Yep.
And so, not a ton. It's not like getting into Friends or
Not like
something.
One
right?
Piece.
Well, and each
But
season
how many
has like 13 to 15
Yeah.
episodes, I think.
So it's not. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
And each
It's not like
episode-
some of the like 30,
Oh,
40
Lord.
episodes.
Some of the K-dramas that are like
oh gosh.
22 episodes.
Oh, I
and each
started
one's like a
one-
movie.
and each episode's only a half an hour long.
Yep.
Which to me is always good.
Well, it's like 22 minutes without commercials
Sure,
or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah. If you have
Standard
Crunchy
stuff.
Premium.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So, does anyone want to share their final thoughts on the show, or the not the show itself, but the first episode, and then share? Are you gonna binge? Or are you gonna bail?
Well, like William, I'm interested to hear more of your take. One time when I was watching it, you said a comment that was like, I can't watch this show because there's no payoff in it. And it like stresses you out.
Well, that's how I felt in the first season,
Mm-hmm.
not after the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't really expect payoff in the first episode, so that wouldn't count into that. But I did feel that way like during the first season. It was just like there's no winning ever, which is like the vibe they're going for, but it was like they went too hard at that.
Mm-hmm.
But then like in the second season and stuff, they do start winning. They like start achieving stuff, and so it was like good. But
Yeah.
I guess since you called me out,
I broke a small group rule.
but as far as like
This isn't small group. This is bail or binge.
as far as like first episode goes, like watching it again, I probably would binge it, but like it's borderline.
Sure.
It's for me like rewatching the first episode, I was like, there's not a lot of content to this, honestly.
The first episode.
It's
or in
just like
general.
it's just world building.
Yeah.
There's no character growth really. They introduce Aaron and that in his little thing, and then they just like, hey, here's all these other characters that you don't care about right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like it's kind of a really hollow first episode
Sure.
where they're just like, okay, there's Titans,
Great.
but it is marketed as a 2-parter, and you are intentionally, I think, supposed to watch the second part.
Right.
Yeah. We didn't. We
We
only
did
watched
not.
the first one.
Well, I feel like they could take that risk because the manga was so popular. They knew
Well,
they
yeah.
were
Oh,
gonna have
sure.
viewers, you know.
Right.
but we're Americans. You can't assume I read the manga.
But it is interesting enough where I would continue watching through the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I would binge it. It felt like it like barely convinced me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I don't know. Maybe not. There's like just the weird little things about like the pacing and stuff. Like,
And it's always hard, like, because you guys, to be clear, like, are pretty well versed in this show. Like,
Mhm.
Lauren, I know for sure you've watched all of it. William,
Yeah.
most of it. And so when you're trying to decide whether to watch something again, you
Yeah.
always like, like, oh, but there's this part I gotta watch, or
Right.
there's
there's
that
like
part.
there's stuff in the
For
third
sure.
season I would watch again.
It
But
is
like
a grind in some
But
parts
like
of the
watching
show.
the first, I don't know, like, yeah, just trying to think back, like, would I watch it just based on this first episode? If I hadn't seen anything else, I'd be like, okay, this is interesting enough.
Sure.
But like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's a borderline one, but yeah, I would
All right.
binge it.
He's a binger.
Well, now that we've started on that end of the couch, Lorna, you're going next.
Oh, okay, well, clearly Binge. It's one of my top 5 favorite anime.
Yeah, it's not gonna
And-
be hard this first one for you.
Yeah. One last comment I want to make about it is like I really appreciate how the show is really empowering to like the female characters, and they definitely show like
Not in the first episode. The only female character who has more than like 2 lines of dialogue gets
Mikasa.
eaten.
No,
Oh,
Mikasa.
yeah, she didn't talk very much in the first episode.
Yeah, but like throughout the show, the development of the female characters is really good, and they definitely do a good job of like showing that they can be like just as high ranking and powerful, as strong as like the male characters are, and they show a lot of like
I guess she does get some of that. Like,
Mhm.
they're afraid of her and
yeah,
everything.
and there's a I don't know, I don't want to spoil it. Like Sasha's one of my favorite characters.
I don't even know who that is.
If
you
watch
find out
part
about
2,
her,
you'll find her.
and then
Maybe.
They introduce her.
Yeah, then there's Hanzo. She's a scientist. She's super funny, like very sassy, very crazy.
There's funny stuff in this show.
Well, it's
later
like
on?
weird,
Yeah,
random
Levi's like,
comedic relief. Yeah, but she just is like, oh, she's super crazy, and I love her. She's awesome. So yeah, Binge clearly.
All right, Kayla.
Of course.
Comes to you.
Well, I liked it, but it is kind of a lot for me because I am very visual and I do get nightmares about things, and that kind of like, I know you're talking about how much you like the style. I'm not into the horror style of drawing anime stuff. Like, it's so, when their eyes do the bulging down thing and stuff, I
Mhm.
was just like, this is so intense for me right now.
Mhm.
And so, yeah,
it doesn't
it
get any
was.
better. It just gets worse.
Oh gosh, like there was so much emotion and stuff.
Mhm.
Like I struggle with things that are super emotional because I kind of use TV to distract me,
Sure.
and so
Does it
and I
get as-
feel for people deeply
Mhm.
too. So I was
Yeah.
just like, it was so much, but it was like I also was feeling very invested in what was happening with everybody. So it's like part of me was like, okay, let's go on to the next episode, but it was also late, so I was like,
And we hadn't watched The Mandalorian yet?
Yeah. I was
Priorities.
like, I need to watch The Mandalorian. But I was like, if we would have just continued, I would have just gone on to the next episode just because I was like, okay, what's going on?
hmm
But I mean, now that it's like I'm not there with it, it's a bail. But it's like if I was just sitting and watching it, yes, I would probably just keep binging because I would just be like, I need to know what's going on.
hmm
But it also would be, as soon as I'm done watching it from TV, I probably wouldn't go back to it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
It's
don't know what that
intense.
means.
No, it's
but
super intense. Well, that's like
Bail doesn't mean that you think it's bad. Like, there's
Right.
lots of stuff that I can look at and I can say, I see why people like this. It's just not for me.
right. Totally.
That's not bad.
It was-
Like, it
yeah.
isn't like you're saying.
it was a lot.
Well, and I should say
Poo-poo.
too, like I didn't binge the show.
Oh,
I
sure.
had to take it one episode at a time. But the character development and the plot of it was so unique that it kept me coming back. But normally, like, yeah, I am very disturbed, like by how graphic it is at times, and just it's super intense. So, But there's also like a messed up part of me that enjoys that about some shows. Like, I don't know. Will said the other day, he's like, you enjoy being uncomfortable and being out of your comfort zone. And I was like thinking about that when I was watching the show.
I'm sure
I
there's
was
a
like,
German word for that.
Probably.
Or Japanese.
Yep.
Yeah.
They both
One of
have
the- yeah.
a lot of
Mhm.
descriptive words.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I also was noticing the eyes. I took 2 notes during the show. I wrote eyes. It's like everybody's eyes are like crazy big, like
Mhm.
even more so than like I feel like in most regular anime.
Right.
Like, and their eyes are doing a lot of like the emotion. What I feel is
Well,
Right.
yeah, I feel like in a lot of anime, characters with big eyes are supposed to be cute. But
Sure.
in this show, when they have like large eyes, it's supposed to be like
Horror,
Horror,
horrified
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
and so
It's not cute.
Yeah.
and so I do like I tend to get interested in shows and then not really care about watching it myself, and I'll like will watch people talk about things
Mhm.
online. So like there's tons of shows it's like I've never seen any episodes of them, but I know what's happened in them. And so
Mhm.
I am familiar with this show up to a certain point, and not like in specifics a lot. But in rewatching it, I think I am down to binge Attack on Titan. I think
Whoa,
that
bro.
because it is different. I think it's there's some things that are going to happen that make me be like, I don't know. We'll see if I stick it out.
Right.
That kind of changed like what the base idea is right now, like
Mhm.
with it being like the people versus the Titans. And I know it's bigger things that happen later on.
Right.
But I think that I'm into like seeing like what's gonna happen. The fact that it's only a half-hour long episodes makes it easier for me. I can sit down and watch one like on my phone or something. Like if I got time, I could break it up and over bathroom breaks,
Right.
or when I'm getting away from the kids or something. And
Kayla's
and-
face right now.
but I know that it's not, and that does make it hard for me too, because most of the time when I watch TV, I'm watching what Kayla's watching.
Right.
Well,
And
here's the thing. I'll just won't feel bad being on my phone or doing something else while you're watching.
I feel like
it.
you're gonna peek though.
I know.
She will.
I'll
She'll
just
peek
like.
and she'll ask me what's going on.
Yeah, you'll make Seth watch the bad parts.
Oh gosh. Can we throw that out here right now?
Sure.
I never want to watch
Outlander.
the first episode of Outlander for the podcast, because I'll tell you right now, I'll bail.
No,
I'm
it's okay.
I'm bailing on
I'm
Outlander.
well aware. Outlander fans are far and few between, but we
I don't
stick
know if
together.
that's that true. It's a pretty popular show.
It's gotten more popular.
It's a
since
good
gotten on
show. I
Netflix.
just can't go back. Right? I failed.
Yeah.
It's one of those shows where I didn't start at the beginning. I started watching like the second season.
Mhm. Oh, so you've got it after the bad
Yeah,
part.
he got in
Yeah.
good.
That sounds
There's
nice.
still things that.
Oh,
They
I'm
still
sure
have
there are.
flashbacks, Yeah, but
But anyway, yeah, no, I think I'm in. I'm gonna say it. I'm in on it. It's one of those things that I know a lot of people who have watched it and liked it, and so I'm like, yeah, I could get in on this. And I'm
It's
sure
got
there's
really
gonna be
popular.
a cool. Gotta find whatever weird character I can say is my favorite one, so that I can be quirky and fun too, and
So you can yell something.
so I can be Kenny.
Because you're quirky.
So I'm quirky and fun. So there we go. So William is a kind of binge. Lorna's an absolutely binge. Kayla is a bail, and I'm gonna binge. Of course, I'm not gonna actually binge it. I will watch it in responsible, moderate pieces. But given that it's
do
just
on this show,
it's
Right.
the snappy title of the show.
I'm
It's
gonna
just that
moderately enjoy this
we
show.
would responsibly view this program.
responsible viewer.
So that's what I picked. All right, so that's the end of us talking about Attack on Titan. Next time, we're going to talk about another anime that Lorna is bringing to us, one of her top 5 anime of all time, called Violet Evergarden. And that's a character's name, is what I'm told. I know nothing about this, and I'm looking forward to knowing nothing about it. Because, as I mentioned earlier, I had watched the first episode of Attack on Titan before, so I'm interested to get in on one I really don't know. All right.
Yep, and it's on Netflix if people want to watch it before. It's a Netflix-made anime.
All right.
Yeah.
Then we're just going to watch the first episode. So
Yes.
if you want in, we're going to talk about it. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening. I hope that everybody has fun watching TV.